Hi, and welcome to CyberOne Certification and Training. If you're here for training or support today, but you'd like to learn more about how you can become certified as a CyberOne expert, then just reach out to your account manager or email us at support@cb1security.com. Okay, let's get started. So we're in issue management today, and we are looking at responding to findings, and we're going to cover exception requests today. So we're going to go back to our finding notification to start and go through the workflow from there. Okay, so let's get into our notification. So here is the notification that our primary contact has received again. And we're just going to then open one of these records to begin the process. And we're going to show you a couple of steps today. So first, when the finding is open, then we have the option to mitigate by a due date. And this due date is defaulted to 30 days in the CyberOne system, but it can be customized depending on the company's requirements. So if we're able to mitigate by that due date, then we would select yes. But today we're going to ask for an exception request because we can't. So if we're not able to create a mitigation plan that will satisfy that due date, then we're going to click no. And that will take us directly into an exception request record where we just populate our request details. So here's why we need an extended time period to mitigate, which is essentially, of course, what an exception request is, or the reason why we can't mitigate. And then we want to list the business justification. As part of the workflow for CyberOne exception requests, there is an approval process that's built into our workflow so that a leadership or management person can approve the exception requests. And we just want to put that justification there to help them with that approval process. Then again, very similar to risk mitigation, we want to put our expected resolution date. Of course, this would likely be further out as it's an exception request. Again, similar to risk mitigation, we have the comments section where we can add comments for our risk manager to enhance or just put any additional notes that don't necessarily belong in the request details, but you want to bring to the attention of the risk manager. And again, remember to click the add comment to make sure these go through. These comments will then feature in the finding record and can be responded to by the risk manager in the finding record. And then when we're ready, what we can do then is just go ahead and submit. Again, we get the fair warning, same with mitigation. And there we submit the plan. And then again, just exactly the same as the risk mitigation plan. If we go to our platform now, we can see in this finding record that an exception request has been submitted. We can scroll down to the finding response and we can open that request plan. In the comments section, we can see there's comments and we can review those comments and then we can respond as the risk manager. And that will show up now for the primary contact who's managing the exception request. And we can verify this exception request. Now, again, this does beget an approval process in CyberOne. And we'll show you that approval process in a later training. And that basically concludes the training for how to set up an exception request. The only thing to note then is once this is approved, it will signal this in the portal for the primary contact to know that their request has been approved. Then one final option we wanted to show you today very quickly was if you had chosen to mitigate and submitted a mitigation plan initially, but that at any time you decide that you're not going to be able to complete the mitigation plan by the due date, and here the due date you can always see as listed here. And you'll see that this is green now because it's not in danger of being missed, but as it gets closer to the date, that will change color to represent the timeliness of the due date. So if we're not able to do it, then again, we can submit an exception request by changing this risk mitigation to exception. That takes us to a exception request record again, where we have to, again, submit why and the business justification. We have the comments again, option 2. And again, then we just want to put the date and submit. And again, that will go into approval process. So now if we look at this record, we'll show you the slight difference. So if we go into the platform and just open this finding record, now you can see again the exception request, the status, the response is that there has been an exception request submitted. But if you go down to the finding response detail, you can now see that there was an initial risk mitigation plan and that status is now being changed to exception request. All right, so that concludes our training for today. That's how you complete an exception request on the CyberOne platform. Thank you.